And welcome back to Marriage and Bliss. This is a platform where we talk about marriage, we talk about everything that concerns marriage, relationships, and we just want to enrich us as we restore God's order in marriages and relationships. This is Elevate TV, Advancing Kingdom Lifestyle. I hope that you have been watching and you have been learning from us. So please kindly just make sure that you engage with us on all our social media platforms. We are on social media at Elevate TV Kenya, at Marriage and Bliss. Just engage with us. Let us talk. Let us bring these talks home so that we enrich one another. And today we have a wonderful topic that we want to talk about that is affecting very many marriages in this generation. People we have seen that have divorced for so many reasons. And today I want us to talk about anxiety and depression in marriage. Anxiety and depression in marriage. Many people are going through it. Some do not know. Some know about it. Some have sought for help from different places. And I hope that this will help you. And to tackle this topic, I found no other than the best person to just speak about this issue and just to break it down for us as we learn. So help me invite Apostle Mr. T. Karibu sana Apostle.
Asante sana.
We are so delighted to have you in this show today.
It's a blessing.
Tunafurahi sana kukuwa na wewe, and I know that you will share a lot of wisdom that will help out people out there. Amen. So can you introduce yourself?
I don't know why people call me Apostle Mr. T. But basically it's because I began as a gospel rapper. And I think Pastor Tim Wangi, that name Apostle is a little bit intimidating. Brother Tim Wangi is amazing. And we bless the Lord. I'm the senior pastor, Life Church International Limuru. I'm also the founder, Truth Mentorship Society, an author, married to Waheto Kahora.
Wow.
So I'm a father, and yes, I have the right, the opportunity, the privilege to talk about the matter at hand.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Asante kwa even kukubali kukuja. It is a great honor.
Amen.
So, Pasi, I think we're just going to delve into it. So many people are going through depression. It has been a topic that is out there. It is a discussion that is going on in our social arenas. We are seeing people divorcing. And at the end of the day, we come to find out that depression was the cause, or maybe anxiety was the cause. Some of them do not know. Some of them have problems and they think, ni za kawaida tu, and they continue to with life. What are the causes of, does problems in marriage cause depression, or does depression cause problems in marriage?
Both of them are true. Because man is a triune being. By a triune being, it means you have the body, you have the soul, and you have the spirit. And for the functionality of man, the three entities must be healthy.
Wow.
Now, spiritually, we come to church and we are fed, empowered spiritually. But now when it comes to physically, we eat. But when it comes now to what we call the soul, where we have the seat of emotions, we have the logic, the gate of will, the conscious, the memory, the subconscious, and all these things. That area has been assumed for long, but the wellness of that area is very key, because that's where the whole thing, psychological breakdown, comes in, and we say that so-and-so is depressed, meaning that something is pressing down his emotional kind of engagement. So when you are depressed, you don't operate in your normal parameters. The way you respond, because you see, marriage has logical response and emotional response.
Sure.
So when you are depressed, it means the emotional side is not felt. You know, you're seated there, and we can feel your presence. And sometimes even things you're supposed to participate in, you don't participate. So depression affects marriage. And there are also people who get depressed because of marriage.
Wow.
Because there is too much pressure coming. Emotionally, I feel I'm overweight, and emotionally I feel I can't handle this thing. So I end up now receiving so much negative energy, and I don't know even how to behave.
Wow. So
I create a wall, and I become depressed, because marriages are going through different challenges and different battles.
Very true.
Yes.
And with this having gone through a period of COVID-19 in the previous year, and some people actually went through deep stuff. Some lost their jobs, some lost so many things. And in the process of living, is it that we are always told that men have a cave that they run into when things get tough and they don't want to speak out their mind? And is it that some men went into the cave and the ladies are not able to pull them out of the cave, so they are depressed in there alone, they are not speaking it out?
Basically, I will go to what I call the psychological structure of men and women. They vary.
Yes.
And this one also, because of that psychological variation, it gives us adaptability in different issues. The same issue that a woman is going through, a man can go through, and it will not affect the man. And a man can go through something that a woman cannot go through, or she can go through comfortably. So the psychological infrastructure of many men, I won't say that necessarily there is a cave, but men are logical. Men, psychology is like a game of chess. They are goal-oriented. That's why we love soccer. Because we are looking at the 90th minute, but we have the patience to stay for 90 because we are goal-oriented. And that's why we have no time for soap operas, because it is a series. You know, women are more of what will be the next thing.
True.
For us is tumalizana na kitu, we finish. So because of that psychological infrastructure, you end up now having that when there is a crisis, it might oppress the man at that time because he's trying to formulate. It's like a game of chess. What is my next move? What is my next move? But my goal is to be the king. So I'm trying to move from one box to the other. And once I'm out of box number 1, I'm now focusing my energies on box number 2. So I've lost my job. I'm out of that box. So I cannot play a pity party and everything. So I need to think the next box is that I'm jobless. How do I survive from here? So those are men. And that is what will stress him. The stress will not be, I lost the job. If he made the move from I'm out of that box to I'm now jobless, the stress will be, what do I do that I'm now jobless? And that might take a toll on him if he doesn't have the next box to move to. Because again, the previous box, it's almost impossible. Now, for women, they tend to connect, they tend to mix this current box that I'm in, and they tend also to mix the box have not yet entered. So they're already in the future thinking how bad it's going to be. And even that box where they are in, they have not yet fit. So they mix this future past. And that's the psychology.
Wow.
Because they say the mindset of a woman is like spaghetti. One thought is connected to the other, and it will connect to another. So it is not just a linear kind. It is interconnected. So you'll find fears of the past will fit to the current situation, and fear of the future will fit to the current situation. So now it becomes a little bit hard for women to endure in some things. But also there are things that men go through, and it becomes very hard for them to endure. Yes.
Wow. You will agree with me. There is so much wisdom that is being released here. I hope you are learning. I hope you have your notebook and your pen just writing down the wisdom that is being released here. So, Apostle, what I get is women process in some very linear, not linear, but intertwined kind of way.
Yes.
And men think in a linear. They want to think the next move. Most of the time, when men think in that next move, they are not able to verbalize it.
Yes.
They're not able to say it out. And most of the time in a tukula huko ndani, and you're not able to express it. Yes, you've said that men are logical beings and women are emotional beings.
Yeah.
They want you to connect to their emotion, and they want to connect to your emotion, but you're not able to bring them to that place.
Yes.
So what would your advice be on a couple that is going through all these issues, and the man is not able to speak it out to the wife?
What I will say is, I think there's a book that was written. Is it Women Are From Mars, Men Are From Venus?
Yes.
Just trying to show the disparity of how unique and different we are, even in our own formation and in our own infrastructure.
Yes.
And even how we operate and do these things. So one of the things is that it is good for men to study and understand women, and it is good for women to study and understand men. Because When a man is silent, it doesn't mean that he's not thinking. And at that time, he's looking for a logical solution.
Wow.
Because there are things you can't feel in life.
Wow.
You know, I'm in this house, the landlord will come end month. I can't afford to think how it will feel when the house is closed. I must think how I need to get the rent. So, but there's also a time for just what I call peace in the house. There are times as a man, you need to know that a woman is projecting her emotions in this conversation and she's not projecting logic. At that time, you have to say, you know what, logical setting off, emotional setting on. And that time, you know, that is the time you just shake your head and agree with everything. For the sake of peace. Because this person is designed like this. You can't change them. This is how they're supposed to be. The second thing, women need to understand that men are willing to open and share, but they are not willing to open, share, and get interrupted. Interruption simply means how you handle the information I give you will dictate how much more information I can trust you with. You know, because once in a while, I might share something like, you know, job things are not working out. And the next thing, I find you the whole day depressed. Now,
because of the information.
Now me, I'm on a logical spree. I'm thinking how things need to work out. You're already depressed and you're praying and you're a guy who manna, and you don't even eat. So because of that response, I might withhold other serious information that I feel because I love you. And I'm like, I don't want to put you into tormentation. I have the capacity to handle this thing as me, but I don't think you have the capacity. So the way a woman treats the information that she's given will determine how much more. And this is general. Even if a man shares his weakness and you treat that weakness as a tool of attack, that man will retreat. He might suffer. Yes. And that's why they say most of the men are allowed in bars. Men talk in place where other men are drinking. That is the only place where he receives an audience without judgment. So he's very loud there. When he goes home, someone audited and says men speak less than 500 words in a year. You know, nilete margin weke bafu. That's it. Story measure. So when you look at 365 days, so he speaks around 500 words in a year, which is not very healthy. And it is the concept of understanding one another. It is also good for men to understand that women are emotional. There are complaints they make, but they are expressing an emotion. You can't take it out of them. And you must learn to listen to what they are saying, and sometimes you have to listen to how they are saying. Because sometimes the content is not in the words. The content is in the tone. A lady can tell you niko sawa. The content does not match the tone. So you need to know ayuko sawa. But hiyo niko sawa.
Si sawa.
If you listen and you assume niko sawa, you'll suffer. So you must listen. In fact, they say 68% of our conversation is in the tone. It's only around 35% that is in the words. The tone speaks the realities. Yes. So that's why you must hear beyond the words and hear the tone. You can see a frustrated tone, a desperate tone, a tired tone. So you have to be a good listener.
So you listen to the non-verbal cues.
Yes.
More than what is being said.
Yes.
Wow. And guys out there, I know maybe you are going through something. Maybe you are going through a similar situation that Apostle Pastor T. Mwangi is giving unto us. So I hope that you are seeing the number on your screen. The number on your screen is there for you to just call if you need someone to talk to, if you need someone to pray for you and pray with you. Just call the number on your screen. Engage with us on all our social media platforms at Elevate TV Kenya, at Marriage and Bliss, and I am sure that you will get the help you need. Pase, there are people who get into depression because of transitional depression. Maybe they were single and they thought marriage would be this beautiful thing where I come home, chakula inaandaliwa and everything is okay. Then you're now in marriage and these things are not happening, and now kila kitu, it gets to that point where you're now anxious, and that anxiety brings depression to some extent. What would your take be on transitional kind of depression, either into marriage, into parenthood, into for loss or loss of a job, loss of a loved one? What would your take be?
The first thing is that we can't run away from change. Change is part of us, and everything is changing. And it is so sad if the external world is changing, but you are not changing. There's something we call the Ostrich Approach. An ostrich has the smallest brain in the jungle. And of course, small brain means shortest memory. So they say an ostrich can be chasing you and then it forgets.
That's how ilikuwa inakukimbiza.
And it changes course. And because of that, what an ostrich does is that when it senses there is a prey, you have to understand the neck is very long, the head is very small, the body is very big. It's when I think of one of the amazing creatures proportionally. And so the ostrich will bury its head in the sand and assume that the fact that I cannot see the opponent does not exist. And there are many people running life with an ostrich approach. They have buried their heads in the sands and they're like, I cannot accept that there is change in the world. We are not in the 21st century and you're still expecting things to happen as they happen in the 50s, which is not there. A lot of dynamics, women are getting employed, they're getting their money, workplace dynamics, and wherever you are. So the greatest thing that a man ought to change is his attitude.
Wow.
Because life is a product of attitude.
Wow.
Meaning that, and one of the things I encourage people, when you enter into marriage, don't enter with expectations. That is what kills most of, even natural relationship. We are friends, and so if you have an event, like a birthday party for your daughter, and I happen not to come, naturally, if there was no expectation, in your heart you will say, if T had time, T would have come.
True.
And I know the fact that he didn't come is because there was something that he was doing, but I know he would have been here.
Yes.
But you see, if you do a birthday party and you say, T is my friend, if there's one person that I'm waiting that he cannot miss his T, and then I miss, you will be offended.
Yes, true.
So it is these unmet expectations and unconfessed expectations that end up opening a door of offense.
Wow.
So a person becomes offended, and sometimes they don't even talk, but the way they behave,
it
you wonder,
tells you.
what is this with the attitude? But the guy is like, okay, this woman cannot even tell herself to just serve me food. But you see, it was an expectation because you grew in a place where you saw your mother serve food, and you don't even know where this lady grew. Maybe she grew in a place where people are doing self-service, so that you serve what is enough for you. So the lady has the confidence, and the man feels, now Nikama, we are becoming equal in this house. And that means you either now use your position and authority in a way that is not right, just to make a statement. You begin to frustrate people in the house. You give money that is not enough so that they can remember who is in charge.
He's in charge, true.
So transitions are there. And it is good when you get in marriage, don't have any expectations, but build a house that is for the two of you. You agree, this is how we do our stuff, this is how we do, and you have to agree to the minute details. And every opportunity of argument is an opportunity to set a road plate or a roadmap of how this thing ought to be handled.
Wow.
So you will get in, children come and disrupt the whole program.
True.
I remember when there's a time, mostly I have very early mornings, and sometimes the child is there making noise the whole night, and sometimes I just tell my wife, let me just catch a nap on the chair, because the way this child is sleeping and the sleeping styles. So this is our matrimonial bed, but you are now saying this young person has interrupted everything.
Very small.
And tomorrow I need to be out in town very early, and this is around 3, and you're like, let me just catch a nap here for 3 hours and allow this young one
to do her theatrics in the bed.
We never thought, sometimes this kid wakes at 3 and begins to drive cars,
In the middle of the night, and you expect
Yes,
them to be
and
asleep.
then the kid is asleep the whole day. So you see, in such an arrangement, you're not saying that I don't want to spend in my matrimonial bed. You're saying this guy is going early for work. So if only he can catch some sleep and just rest, I think it will make sense. I've also seen people who say, you know what, you sleep early, at around 3, I'll hold the baby and just be with the baby. Now, these are dynamics. It doesn't mean that the wife is now sitting on you. This child is not your wife's child. It's the child of the two of you. So your mind has to be open, expectations, and this is where the place of quality marriage counseling comes in. Because people are prepared in advance of what to expect, and they're given the wisdom. So when the matter shows up, you have the wisdom on how to tackle it.
Wow.
And I tell you, it can go south and go south. Because you don't confess expectation. The other person is doing what they think is right. You are offended on the other side. You begin to behave wrongly. Then you offend the other person. And now the two of you are offending each other. And nobody's talking to each other. And by the time you begin to go to the root cause of the matter, and sometimes you don't want to say what is the real issue. You're not saying, why didn't you serve me? Because it sounds silly, but it's an expectation that you had. That you had, and it was not met.
Wow. So unmet and unexpressed expectation, which comes in not just for those that are married.
Yeah.
Also for those that are dating. Because relationships are breaking up because I expected you to take me out for the Valentine's weekend, and maybe you did not even show any form of remembrance of the day, or maybe I expected you to buy me cake on my birthday, and that expectation was not met. So you have raised a very important, pertinent issue on burying your head in the sand, like the ostrich approach. There are people who have been ostriches for so long. They have been ostriches for so long on matters that are very important.
Yeah.
There are some that are important to both of them. Some are important to the lady, and some are not important completely to the man. But he needs to express. And you have said there's that point where you tell logic, lala kidogo, then emotion now take over. So for someone who has never seen anyone do that, because sometimes man is created just to pick up from where you have seen. For someone who has not seen that, how would you advise them on now updating and retreat?
I think the reason why there are books, you see, marriage is the only institution where you are given a certificate. The second thing, there is nothing new under the face of the earth. People have gone through, and a lot has been captured when it comes to some of these expected issues in marriage. So I'll expect that you invest a lot in terms of becoming a man. You read a lot of books just trying to understand. Nowadays they call them the other gender. You just read a lot of books trying to understand them, because you're not the first person to be married. And many people will tell you marriage is sustained by wisdom. And wisdom is the epitome of maturity.
Wow.
When a man matures, and maturity is not age, maturity is the ability to handle crisis.
Wow.
Because we have old fools. A friend of mine said, even fools grow old. So
so they are old and they are foolish.
Yes. So we can't, but of course, age comes with experience. People have many experiences, and out of experience, they can give wisdom here and there.
Sure.
But real maturity is the ability to handle crisis. And that ability to handle crisis, it comes with wisdom, because wisdom will pursue peace at the end of the day. Now, you see that ostrich approach. There are different animals that are used when people are going through a conflict, just trying to give the picture. There are people who take also the tortoise approach. They will hide their head and shell up. And this shell, even if you say anything, they can't feel it. You can't crack it, but the head is hidden. And when things are safe, they take off the head. They don't want to war. They can even take the burden and say, I'm sorry. They just want peace. And there are people who survive like that. There are people who are like the skunk. The skunk, once you attack the skunk, it produces a very foul, very bad smelling smell. And there are people, you just begin an argument, they begin to say words that will just irritate you. They will just irritate you. There's also the porcupine, the one that releases some spikes. Some people, you attach them, they are just there to poke you and spike you. There's also the gorilla. The gorilla is the one that has to win in every debate. Even if they are wrong, the conclusion of the matter is that there's nothing you're telling me. And it's a very bad approach, because Most of the times when people are going through something, you're a team.
True.
And, I've never seen Manchester competing to see who wins between Manchester. So at the end of the day, they work as a team to win as a team. So even if the wife had more valid points than the husband, what we are trying to say, the team has won, irrespective of which player played well in this match today. Because women are not foolish. We can't say that men have all the wisdom. Women are also very smart. There are things they raise. And when you think at them logically, you're like, by the way, this one makes sense. And most of them are very prophetic. The things they raise also have a prophetic eye. You may not see it nakedly, but later you still come to the same wife and say, by the way, whatever you're saying is true after a loss. So it's good to always avoid the losses. So that for me is the whole scenario when people are dealing with transition, when people are dealing with these kind of expectations, and when these things begin to come up, so that now you're well acquitted and able to handle them.
Wow. Well, this information is is really sinking in. I hope that out there you have identified where you are. Wewe ni gorilla ama wewe ni porcupine. I hope that now that you have known which area you are in, you are able now to work on yourself. So that Percy has said very well that it is about teamwork. And at the end of the day, both of us have won, regardless of whoever has scored the goal or whoever has not scored the goal. It is about teamwork. Out there, I know that some of us have issues because we cannot agree. We cannot simply come down and agree that this is the issue that is eating us up, and this is the issue that we will tackle. So do not touch that dial. We are going to go for a short break so that we take a cup of water, a glass of water, because Apostle is oozing with a lot of wisdom. So please do not touch that dial. This is Marriage and Bliss on Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyles. We love you, we value you, and I know that you are learning from us. Do not touch that dial. See you after the break.